baby steps to a happier life. Yeah! Hey guys, my name is Arno and welcome to my 50-day challenge. So today I'm here with a good friend of mine that's going to present him.
Well, Tom Ryan is my name. I'm a hypnotherapist. I come from Ireland, but I work all over Europe, and I've done some work in the United States as well. I've dealt with, at this stage, more than 38,000 clients on a one-to-one basis. And one of the things you learn from that is you've got to get results. If you're dealing with 38,000 clients, you're going to run out of clients fairly quickly if you're not getting results. So it's very result-based, very result-orientated. And one of the things I learned along the way that change is what is the basis of the healing process to get results. But all change is instant. Mm-hmm. See, I'm looking at so many people going to so many different kind of healing practitioners, be they mainstream medicine or alternative or whatever they like to call themselves. And they have this long drawn-out process in their minds about change coming along. If change does occur in that stage, it usually comes from within the person themselves in their own time, because it's got nothing to do with the therapist. The therapist in that case is just taking their money, becoming a part of their blue chip, the therapist's blue chip pension scheme. It's inconceivably bad, because change is like that. It's instant.
Okay. So my first question is going to be, so he's one of the greatest hypnosis. You're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
You already had 38,000 people you helped with. So my question for you is, if example, what do you do? Like if I come and I have a problem with smoking or with overeating, or I want to lose weight, can you help me?
Of course. Let's just take smoking as an example.
Okay.
Because I do quite a lot of smokers, and I would probably see more smokers than any other hypnotherapist almost in Europe at this stage. Now, when a person comes in smoking, they have a habit. They're under the impression that they have an addiction, if you like. Well, most of them display no signs of an addictive personality, or not addicted, or nor are they addicted to anything else. If it was an addiction, the addiction is supposed to be an addiction to nicotine. If it was an addiction to nicotine, they wouldn't need to see me in the first place. All they would have to do is go into a pharmacy, get a nicotine patch, stick it in their arm. It releases many, many more times nicotine into their system, much more quickly, much more efficiently, faster. So whatever kind of a drag satisfaction they get when they take that drag of that cigarette, if there was an addiction to nicotine, they would get much more satisfaction from the patch. But the only thing they'll ever get from that patch is a rash. It's no addiction to nicotine. It starts off as a curiosity. It becomes a habit. Then it becomes a miasma. A miasma, from my point of view, is like a virus in a computer. And once I take that out of their mind, out of their consciousness, they don't smoke. They don't want to smoke anymore. It's as simple as that.
Okay. So, and how long does it take, basically, if somebody says, yeah, I want to stop smoking, I'm tired, I just want to quit smoking, how long does it take for someone to stop smoking?
You explain to them for 15 to 20 minutes what the process is going to be. You do a test with them, which I do. If they pass the test, I know their mind and their body are receptive and they're ready to start smoking. If they don't pass that test, I don't proceed with them. I'll be wasting my time, they're stuck, they're blocked, somebody else sent them in, they're not here because they want to be here. So all they're going to do is play games with me. I'm not into playing games. I just want to get results for the person who genuinely wants the result. Because hypnosis is a contract between two people to achieve a common outcome. If either person is not 100% committed, there's not going to be a result. So I'm not really interested in dealing with anybody who's not committed to getting a result. Because if they are, we're working in harmony together, we're going to get a result. Okay. I give 100%, I expect 100%, that's going to be 100% result.
Okay. So basically you're really into stop people with smoking.
Yeah, stop them, get them to slim down, get them to get rid of their fears, their phobias, their panic attacks, their sleeping problems, and 1,000 other problems. But I'm just using that as an example. So for about 15 minutes you're doing tests, and you're explaining the process to them. You're explaining what hypnosis is, because everybody seems to have a misapprehension about what hypnosis really is. The this hypnosis is trance, and they see all these kind of things on television. They're fine, they're wonderful, they're very entertaining, and they're nice. And a lot of hypnotherapists object to them, and I said they shouldn't do so. Because that kind of entertainment is very valuable. And laughter is one of the best medicines of all. There's no question about that, and there's incredible laughter from a stage hypnosis show. But it's also exposed hypnosis to the world, and disabled people get the wrong idea from it. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as a wrong idea. They've got an idea that there's a thing called hypnosis and it can work miracles, and it can. And then they'll come along to a hypnotherapist, and the funny thing about it is a lot of people come along and say, I'm terrified. I have huge admiration for those people, because despite their terror, they bypass the terror and they're here. They're very genuine. You've got to get a result with them.
Okay. So, and you know that I'm doing a 50-day challenge. So, example, because I'm doing basically happy keys to basic baby steps to a happier life.
Yeah.
And so you're a hypnosis. You can also help people to be more happy with the belief system and everything you explained me yesterday.
You can help people to be more happy, and it's not through the belief system. The belief system is a fallacy. A belief is a piece of information that's been given to you by somebody else, or by some institution, or by something. It's never your own.
No.
To believe is to be lied to.
That's true.
So when you believe something, you're excluding everything else that's in opposition to that. And if somebody is really in opposition to that and you get into a conversation with them, it's going to end up in conflict, because you have to defend your belief and they have to defend their opposing belief. And there's conflict. And people are murdering each other all over the world and being manipulated by governments to kill each other with belief systems. The most disgusting, toxic thing a human being can possess is a belief system. Now, so that means beliefs have to be got rid of. So how do you do that? Well, we did a lot of experiments way back around about the year 2000, and we discovered if you tackle belief systems head on, all people do is they retrench further into the belief systems and create a lot more conflict within themselves and with whoever is working with them. So I found a nice, easy way for them to put aside their beliefs one at a time, and it happens over a period of days, maybe weeks or months, because there's hundreds of beliefs. People think of 3 or 4 core beliefs, they have, and then they have 1,000 others besides. And they all become very prominent when the one before it has gone. So the prominence of a belief isn't linear. The prominence of a belief is whatever belief is being challenged at the moment. That becomes the prominent one.
Okay. So basically, belief, guys, is like something you're sure of, 100% sure. Like example, could you give an example to them? Because I think people...
Okay, it is apparently 100% sure, but if it was 100% sure, people wouldn't need to defend it so strongly.
That's true.
So an example of a belief is, there's a Christian guy here, there's a Muslim guy here, there's a Buddhist guy here. That's 3 different belief systems. In America we have a Republican guy here and a Democrat there. There's 2 more belief systems. And they will either fight their corners to defend their belief system or attack the other person's belief system. They're all based on a falsehood. To believe, again, as I said, is to be lied to. If none of them had a belief system, they would then connect with a thing called inner knowing. Way back in the ancient times, the old gurus of India used to talk about a thing called self-realization. They still speak of it, but they don't know what they're talking about anymore. Self-realization is when you've gone beyond all beliefs and you connect with inner knowing. You connect with the spirit inside, the infinite potential that's within you, the all-knowing, the all-everything, the God power, that's within. You can never connect with that when you have a shield of beliefs blocking you in the way, all of which are false. Now, how do you know it's a belief or a knowing? It's very simple. If it's a belief, there's a shadow of doubt. And by rejecting it, there's a threat of punishment. Every belief, if you reject that, you're going to go to hell for all eternity if you reject it.
Punish yourself.
You punish yourself, there's always a threat of punishment, and it's always inbuilt into every belief. But in knowing, there's no punishment. There's only joy and happiness. And there's the source of happiness. Now, every generation up to this point has been stuck in a mire of beliefs that have been imposed on them from the day that their parents start imposing their beliefs on them to the day they start going to school and getting a whole lot more beliefs imposed on them. In fact, education has become so bad now that it should no longer be called education, it should just simply be called indoctrination. Because you learn very little in school, except the whole indoctrinated systems to keep you under control so you can be manipulated by the bigger system. It's like a pyramid, and the top of the pyramid wants to manipulate everything below it.
It's true.
And that's what goes on. You divest yourself of all those belief systems and you discover an inner knowing, and then you become a sovereign human being. A sovereign human being is a responsible person. A responsible person is they're responsible for themselves, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their state of mind, their state of being, their state of life, what they eat, how they live, their state of health, and their state of well-being. But most people are acting like a 10, 11, a 12-year-old child. They get a bit of a headache or an illness or something, they run down to the doctor. And I would ask, and I have done ask, and I've tested a lot of them, who is responsible for your health, I asked. I said, oh, my doctor is. I said, no, your doctor isn't responsible for your health. You're responsible. And they look at me in shock. I said, but my doctor knows best. No, that's giving over your responsibility to your doctor who does not know best.
Exactly.
Because you should know best. And your doctor's job is to prescribe pharmaceuticals which will probably do more harm than good. Like cancer is one of the easiest of all diseases to cure. You can deal with that in another episode, I suppose. But the doctors, their system will never cure cancer. It'll kill the person.
It's true.
I mean, chemotherapy has less than a 2% success rate. And they all want chemo if they've got cancer. Would you trust anything with a 2% success rate?
Never.
No.
Never.
Now, the young people of this world,
Yeah, tell something about the young people.
well, they're being handed a mess. But the only chance the planet has is those young people opening their minds, opening their hearts, thinking from their heart, not from the head. Because the head is full of indoctrination, but you can't indoctrinate the heart.
No.
So the heart is the source of truth. The head is the source of indoctrination, beliefs, lies, and all the rest of it. And fears and anxieties and phobias and panic attacks and all the other things I deal with. Now, they're all programmed into the mind. All of those programs can be removed and replaced. You never leave a void, you always replace it with something better. And that's the process I use in hypnosis. I completely modified the type of hypnosis I do. I had a wonderful mentor all those years ago, and I trained with the best trainers in the world, because there's no point in me going into an institution and there's some guy up there in front of a blackboard and he's for years and years and years teaching hypnosis. He knows nothing. Those guys have written a lot of the books about it, academic books. And when you read the books, once you know what about hypnosis, you realize they're excellent writers, but they know very little or nothing at all about hypnosis. So hypnosis is a little bit like riding a bicycle, it comes through experience. And working with a huge amount of clients over a long period of time gives you an incredible lot of feedback. And you very quickly learn what works within that. And then you have to discover new things that work, and new things that work, and new things that work. Because I used to go to hypnosis conventions every year, and the same old garbage was trotted out year after year after year after year, and I realized they're all stuck. They're going nowhere. There's nothing to be learned there. So I looked in different directions. I looked at yoga and saw what they were doing.
You're curious. Curious and looking everywhere.
Yeah, I looked at neuro-linguistic programming and I became an NLP trainer. I looked at just about everything. And one of the things I started getting very curious about was quantum physics and the concept of the holographic universe. And then I realized that, and it goes back to an old maxim that's in NLP, but if anybody can do anything, so can everybody else.
That's true.
Providing they get themselves into the same state of resourcefulness. Yes. And discovered you can use neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis to take them into that state of resourcefulness. And then there's a whole universal flow of wisdom and knowledge that people never connect with because they can't get it from academia, they can't get it in any college. It must come from within. But they can never get it while they're blocked by all the belief systems. Because these are barriers. This is why when somebody goes along and he becomes a doctor, he becomes whatever, they never seem to learn anything else. They've spent 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 years studying this thing. And like, now I'm qualified, I don't need to know anymore. And they're completely blocked. And then they spend the next 30 or 40 years treating people from within that blocked place. Now, there's the problem with any therapist is his or her limitations. Any therapist who has any limitations will impose them limitations on the client, or in the doctor's case, on the, I was going to say victim, but I should say the patient. So they'll impose their limitations on the patient or the client. Well, if they do that, they've done a disservice, a huge and massive disservice. So to become a therapist of any description, in any field, the first thing you do is get rid of all your beliefs, all your limitations, and leave yourself open to infinite potential. And then when a client comes in, you see the person has infinite potential, and you work with the infinite potential within the person. And if you're working with that, then you can achieve really incredible and wonderful things for the person. But I was working in a clinic one time, and there was this other guy there working, and he would say to a client, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other. And there was a whole lot of can'ts. And I said, why do you say can't? Well, he says, I can't do them, so neither can anybody else. I said, no, no, no. These are your limitations, and you're shortchanging your client by imposing those limitations on the client. And if you do that, you shouldn't work with him at all. Well, he didn't stay working very long in the business after that because clients didn't want to see him anymore. He was giving off the wrong.
And if I ask you the last question, like example, if people, they want to be happy, because I was talking with a friend of mine today, and she has difficult times, and she has a husband, and it's done with her husband and everything, so she's kind of in depression, and she's always looking outside of her to find happiness. Now she has a new guy she met, and she says, okay, I'm gonna hold on to him, he's gonna make me happy. But tell us the truth about where is happiness.
Well, you see, happiness comes from within the heart. Happiness comes from a state of mind. Happiness is a series of thought forms and a process that comes from within. So this poor unfortunate lady is not going to find happiness in any of those places. Like a friend of mine said to me one day, I'm going to India to find myself. And I did this. I said, I just put my finger around there. I said, can you see that circle on the ground I've done? He said, I can. Well, strange. He was hallucinating the circle nicely for me because I couldn't see any circle. But can you see that circle? I said, step into it. He stepped in. I said, now, that's all you're ever going to find. You'll find it here, you'll find it in India, you'll find it on the moon, on Mars, Jupiter, or any place else. But you got to look within. Now, one great thing about hypnosis is it connects with the subconscious mind, and then it can connect with the higher consciousness beyond that, the unconscious of universal mind and things like that, and it can help people to connect with that. So can good methods of meditation. And if a person meditates and does self-hypnosis on a daily basis, they reach a point where they can automatically make that connection. They discover the inner peace. They discover the inner truth. They discover an inner sense of well-being. They discover an inner source of healing. They discover an inner source of love. They can connect that love then with another person. And that way they can find love with another person.
Then they can find the real soul.
Real, true love. Otherwise there's an illusion there, and they're seeing what they expect in the other person, but one day the veil will come down and they'll see the other person for whom the other person really is. Not that there's anything wrong with the other person, but it won't be
the way they want.
The way they have created in their mind, and now there's conflict.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So again I say, young people have the keys to the future. This planet will be destroyed or be rescued and saved in the next generation and the one after that. There is no future beyond that point unless the young people save the planet. And they've been handed a crock of misery, of contamination, of lies, deceit, conflict, and pollution.
It's true.
But they still have the resources within them, each and every one of them. If they will open their mind, you see, a closed mind is like a closed umbrella in a rainstorm. It's no good. It won't do anything. And when you're stuck in belief systems, you're stuck in a closed mind. You have a narrow plating of a closed mind.
Yeah.
When you get beyond them, all kinds of things are possible. All kinds of opportunities present themselves.
Yeah,
and all kinds of solutions arise. This is the future. We're at the crossroads of humankind at this stage. You see, the people stuck in belief systems, anybody who's stuck in a belief system, are clinging on to the childhood state of mind where they had a parent or two parents, and then they went to school and they had these authority figures called teachers, and there was an authority figure called doctor, and down the road was an authority figure called a policeman, and there's all these authority figures. And they're all kowtowing to, because these are superior beings, and they maybe go in, they might have a little bank account at this stage from another authority figure.
But that is just an illusion, basically.
That's an illusion, but that's refusing to go beyond the age of 12. And 90%, maybe 95% of humanity is living within the illusion of less than a 12-year-old. They're banging at that door, but they don't want to even go in to explore the teenage potential and possibility with all the glory and the beauty and the magic and the excitement of that, and then into their 20s, where they're growing smarter and brighter and exploring and discovering more, and then going beyond that and becoming wise and getting wisdom and discovering their own true potential within themselves and becoming sovereign in and of themselves, where they harm nobody else and they won't allow anybody to harm them, and they won't harm the planet or pollute the planet anymore. That's the future. There is no other future. And this next generation have been handed a poison chalice, but they can unpoison that chalice, and they and the following generation is all that's left. There is nothing after that except a dead planet, unless they rescue the planet. So the planet must be rescued now. And it's not about global warming. This is bloody nonsense. It's about global pollution. It's all the chemicals. Every chemical plant on the planet should be closed down now, immediately. And all the pollutants that come from them should be closed down. The planet will start to recover at that point. And any genetic modification of foodstuffs or plants or growing things, all that stuff should be burnt and destroyed.
Sure.
But you see, there's a manipulative, miserable, greedy, nasty, psychopathic top to the pyramid. And while people look up to the authority figures, they're the ones at the top of the pyramid, and they're allowing them to destroy their inheritance, their livelihoods, their very life itself, and the future of the planet. But there is a future. If the young people become their own independent pyramids, each person must be his own sovereign being. He must be like his own personal little republic. Therein lies the truth.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this interview. Do you have anything that was very inspiring? Thank you.
You're welcome. I just say to all young people, open your mind. Stop listening to people who want to impose beliefs on you. Start listening to your heart. And start listening to people who are full of love and cleanliness and warmth and who want to change. And become part of the change. Become the change, because there is no future for you or your children unless you start changing now.
Yeah,
So change the world or say goodbye to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Perfect.